All right, so we're back, and let's get on my soapbox here. Let's kick off with Raw, because despite the show being kind of it actually went up in viewers.
That's NXT.
Oh, whoops, that is NXT. My bad. There we go. Raw, by the way. Meme City right here. I love it. The Rumble can't come fast enough. This whole Kevin Owens thing with the Bloodline is just spinning in the mud. It's like there has to be something new. There has to be something different, because I'm starting to lose personal interest in it. The Alexa Bliss displaying the goddess of WWE vibes is good. And what I'm starting to see, and what somebody actually pointed out, was what if Alexa Bliss turns heel as the goddess until there is the injection into the Bray Wyatt cinematic universe where she becomes the demon Alexa Bliss. And I sat there and I'm like, that would not be the worst thing in the world. But I'm just really kind of have to sit here and say, what is this? Is she going to be in a conflict with Bray Wyatt in his cinematic universe, or is she going to embrace it? If she embraces it, that's fine. But if she fights against it and becomes that badass, then we're going to be good. Then I'm going to be super, super stoked. It's just kind of weird where the Raw women's division is, and I think it's starting to build back up. I kind of wish SmackDown had the same thing. Austin Theory is getting so much better on the mic personally. I really like what they're doing with it. Seth Rollins has to recoup his knee, because right now, especially right before the road to WrestleMania, he cannot be hurt. He is one of their most popular stars, and it would be a travesty if he got into the ring too soon, tears something bad, and is out for like 9 months.
Right.
Especially right now. They did bring back Bobby Lashley. I think they did it early because they did not know the extent of the Seth Rollins injury. To my knowledge right now, it just needs like a week or two of R&R. No surgery or anything. He probably just popped it weird. Good seeing Bobby Lashley back. He is just crazy. Solo continues to dominate and have matches, which is good. I still think he was brought up too soon, but that's me personally. Him facing Ziggler, because Ziggler can eat a pin, he has legitimacy, and then Solo can continue to rise up in the ranks, because it looks like they are really backing Solo right now. The issue now is the only title that I could theoretically see him go for is the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion, but both champions are heels. I have faith that WWE will do this right, but I'm not going to once again hold my breath on that. Dominic Mysterio is on such a different level of good right now. He has really embraced this meme thing, and it's just working so well for him. I don't like the fact that WWE all of a sudden is separating out the tag team champions. I think that they're doing this prematurely. I think this should be a WrestleMania thing with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens winning both champions and then separating them. What I'm hearing through the grapevine is that the Judgment Day will beat them for the titles, and I really don't want that to happen. I think the Judgment Day should be the champions, but as of right now, the Usos have to take on Zayn and Owens in Mania, and
you keep thinking that this match is going to happen when it's not going to happen.
No, I have a feeling it has to happen, because it does. The tag team turmoil was good. The Judgment Day winning it was good, but I just don't like the randomness of that. But the Raw show itself did 1.693 million as opposed to 1.605 from last week, and the demo is 0.5, which is insane, compared to the 0.41 of last week, and it was the highest demo since October 17th of 2022. So good for WWE for bouncing back fairly strong. Now let's go back to NXT with that picture, because this was the New Year's Evil show. The Tony D'Angelo and family turning babyfaces, I'm starting to like the idea, and Dijak continues to look like a legitimate threat for the North American champion. I like how they're presenting him. It took me a minute to kind of get there, but at the same time, the Terminator thing looks neat, and it's working for him quite well, obviously. So in my notes here, I did not know what was going on with Veer. I only learned yesterday that his dad passed away, which is why he was not on NXT at all, because I'm assuming he was dying. Them bringing back a Jinder as opposed to this was a really good idea in many of ways. It will give Veer time to grieve with his family. They're Indians. It's a very big thing when a family member passes. So that's good. It puts Jinder Mahal back on TV. He won with a win he won with a win. He came back strong with a win against somebody that they're really pushing with Julius Creed. And I thought overall just that sequence worked. The gauntlet was good. I'm happy to see Gallus back, and Gallus being the number one contenders for the tag team champions, I think is going to be good for that division as well. I like Pretty Deadly, but I think they're ready for Maine, but that's just me. The Braun Breaker and Grayson Waller matches, I'm sorry, I couldn't really get into it just because the ropes broke twice, and I thought the first time, it was an accident, and then it did it again, and that was the ending of the match. It was just very unusual that was the case. And the 20-woman gauntlet was good. It was exactly what needed to happen. You have rivalries set up within the Battle Royal itself that are non-titles, and then you have JC Jane and Gigi Dolan winning the match where it's a triple threat, where originally Mandy Rose was going to lose the title to Roxanne at Vengeance Day, but it obviously didn't happen. Was it Vengeance Day or was it New Year's Evil she was supposed to lose?
I think it was New Year's Evil.
I think so. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. That was it. I kind of wish Tiffany Stratton won. She's back. Definitely a much better thing than this daddy's girl nonsense that she had. And NXT actually did fairly well. It was 700K viewers just as an average, next to 653K last week, and then a 0.15 next to a 0.16 from last week. So demo went down slightly, viewership went up. AEW Dynamite's getting really, really close to getting to those numbers, and that's not a good situation. Speaking of the devil, they actually did go up in viewers, which is good, and up in demo, which is also good. It was 967K from 864K from last week. And also it's a 0.33 demo next to a 0.26. So up for both, which is good. Jon Moxley and Hangman Page was a good match. I like the brawling style that they did because that's kind of how they did it. But apparently now Moxley is hurt. How hurt is he? I don't know. Couldn't find anything. Adam Cole's return to AEW was incredibly necessary. They really need some star power, and I think Adam Cole's really going to bring that well. I hope both teams, which is Big Bill and Lee Moriarty and Jungle Hook, continue to team because I like them. I think they could be a great established team, and also it'll give them something to do, which is never a bad thing.
Right.
Danielson and Konosuke was an incredibly good match. MJF's promo was just kind of racist, very unnecessary, and very cringe. This was not a good look for him at all.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was not good. People need to chill. The Jericho Appreciation Society with the Action Andretti and Ricky Starks thing is absolute death. They are going to bury these two kids, unfortunately. Yeah. Ricky Starks and Action Andretti. The women's division is absolutely directionless and a mess. I think the number popped up as much as it did because people were expecting Mercedes to come out. Yep. Toni Storm's body language was something that I pointed out because she does not want to be in AEW. She looks like she would rather be back on SmackDown with Vince McMahon running it. Right. Because she just looked so bad and looked so sad and looked so just... Anyway, the match itself was whatever. The spot was really bad where Hikaru Shida gave the V stick to the heels, and they used it. It was just a colossal disaster. And thank God this best of 7 series is fucking over. I'm done with it. I hope this never happens again for at least a year and a half. It dragged and dragged. If you watch the first 3 matches, you saw every single other match. And the fact that Meltzer gave this 5 fucking stars is absolutely insane. Did he watch the same match I did? Of course he didn't, because he's...
No, he's too busy sucking dick.
God. I'm pretty sure he's getting the sloppy seconds from Britt Baker. Anyway, Impact Wrestling. This is the go-home show for Hard to Kill. I could not find the viewers or the demo for this. I tried for like 20 minutes. The digital face-to-face with Josh Alexander and Bully Ray just was...
It was there.
Yeah, it felt very unnecessary and incredibly pointless. Josh Matthews just interrupted the flow, and Bully Ray just walked off like a pansy. Once again, a triple threat match. It should have been a fatal 4-way at the very least, and this is for the tag team elimination, just an FYI. The Savannah Evans and Rosemary actually did have a good match. I'm very surprised about that. I do not know why they canceled the 6-woman tag. Did you hear anything?
No, I didn't
about
hear
that.
anything
Okay,
about that.
but that was, that was bad. It was a well-paced match, and Savannah Evans has improved in the ring very much, and it's very good to see because they definitely need some people. Callahan is a part of the design. It's intriguing. I think it's good because Sami Callahan, to be honest with you, has been kind of spinning in the mud, and him turning heel and now becoming a lackey of the design is not a bad thing.
No. And I like that he's a lackey. He's not a leader.
Yeah, he's a lackey, not a leader. Mike Bailey and Anthony Green had a good match. I continue to like Green more and more, but I think Speedball is going to be the breakout star this year. He's starting off strong. He's having strong stuff pretty much, and let's see where it goes. And finally, the 6-man tag was just promote Hard to Kill. There was nothing really there. There was like a little storm cloud reference thing, but we saw what happened there later. But once again, I couldn't find the demo or anything for it, which is unfortunate. I was curious to see how much they may have improved or disproved from that. SmackDown did very well. Gunther and Braun was good. It was good. Braun Strowman's best match since returning. And a clean win. It was a good victory for the ending of the story. Mysterio and Cross is intriguing as well. I'm going to see where it goes. I'm very optimistic, but Karrion Kross being put in, I would say, higher profile rivalries that are not title right now is still a show of confidence in his ability. Thank God he got out of that thing with Madcap Moss and Emma because that was death. Liv and Tegan Nox Xia Li. Xia Li and Liv Morgan wrestling the same one. It was really weird. That match was just a nothing. Literally, it was just there to
be there.
To be there, exactly. I'm starting to see the whole picture of the Bray Wyatt thing. It's the Wyatt 6, and what I'm seeing is a split personality where everything is going to be coming together, and he is basically going to be in a battle for himself with all of these different characters. And I'm starting to, once again, it's the Wyatt cinematic universe.
Right.
I'm excited to see where it goes now because now I have a clearer picture on everything that's happening. And I think that's kind of what I was missing from before. The Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez was a tried and true basic story, very direct but very good. Slap in the face in the back, challenge to a match, challenge accepted, here we go. That's it.
Right.
Doesn't have to be any crazier than that.
Right.
A little bit of backup is always a good thing. And finally, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's conflict with the Usos attacking Kevin Owens was good. It was done very well, good nuances, but you can never go wrong with them.
Right.
SmackDown itself actually still 2.182 million viewers, up from 2.168 from last week, and a 0.53 demo next to a 0.5 from last week. So good on both for WWE. They were up pretty much.
What?
I don't know what that was. Pretty much on every show. And finally, I have to talk about this because I'm not gonna rant too much about it, but I think it needs to be addressed. People are still talking about the Ruby Soho blading thing. Number one.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care. It was a street fight match. It was probably going to happen. Chill. But number two, AEW fans really need to stop throwing around, oh, you didn't like it because it's misogynistic. That, number one, that's watered down. Like, you are going to kill something that's definitely an issue. And number two, you're not making your fan base look any better. Nothing about this is good for you. And I'm sorry, I don't care if you're like, oh, well, it's not for you, just don't watch it. That's the point. That's the point of television. If you don't give a shit, then how about AEW gets off of TV then? You know why? Because with AEW, they want eyeballs on the product. You're the thing. You're the cancer that's killing this company right now. And look at the numbers. Both shows were down. I just don't understand why this is so hard for these morons to get. Number one, the whole misogynistic thing is just unrealistic and stupid.
Right.
There were a lot of us who were just not comfortable with blood and wrestling, period.
Yeah.
And there's a lot
blood is so 2000 whatever.
Right. And people are trying to compare it with, oh, what about, John Cena bleeding buckets and Eddie Guerrero? Yeah, that was almost 20 years ago.
Right.
It's just not there anymore. It's such a different culture.
Right. I mean, Impact does blood too, but they don't like do the crimson face like they used to.
They don't. They do it very sparingly.
Right.
They do it very sparingly.
It was very sparingly.
Yeah, and that's what makes it work. Blood works when you use it sparingly.
Right.
It should not be the thing. John Moxley bleeds coming out during his entrance. Ruby Soho has a crimson mask. It's like, okay, who is it going to be next?
Right.
Something's going to happen next fucking week when somebody's going to do the same exact thing. That's the problem. That's the problem with AEW, with the blood. It just is too much. Do you see ECW still around? No. Because gimmicks are only used sparingly. That's what makes it work. Look at the numbers. The numbers do not lie to you. And that is the gold standard of if a show is successful. Right now, AEW is just right here. They're not up or down or anything else. They have not hit 1 million since CM Punk left. You just don't get it. These are numbers. This is a business. They need to make money. Anyway, Darby Allin and Juice Robinson was a good opener, but Juice Robinson's been there for a cup of coffee and then gets a title match for no reason. The Acclaimed stuff with the Guns was childish and ridiculous. It was not funny, and it's making these champions a joke. I'll be honest with you, I'm sick of the Acclaimed. I'm going to say I am sick of them. Their shtick is getting old, and clearly they're not defending these champions a whole lot. And I like the Acclaimed. I think they're a great team, but it's just not there. It's boring, to be honest with you. The Paul Walker Hauser segment was an absolute joke. He had to take a dig at WWE. You know why? Because WWE lives rent-free in your heads, and it's embarrassing. It's like, if you do not do that, I do not get as much hate of any other promotion than I do with AEW fans. For some reason, they just want to win. And they just were like, oh, if you don't like AEW with every gnat's ass everything, then you are not. I'm not an AEW fan. I'm a pro wrestling fan.
Right.
There's a reason why I separate you. With WWE fans, I actually have constructive arguments.
Right.
And they actually present good notes. And they don't sit there and say, oh, well, then this is not for you then. They don't do that.
Right.
That doesn't work. Hell, NWA fans, they're the oldest common denominator, and we don't get that,
right.
You know? Goddamn, Peanut Gallery and I were at a restaurant here, and there was a person right behind us who saw the belt that we hold and walk around with, and she's like, oh my God, that's like Tyrus's belt. It's like, that's the demographic that they get. It's the nostalgia. But I still don't get this vitriol. What is with this vitriol?
I don't know.
It's so toxic and unnecessary.
True.
And guess what happens when you fans want to do that? 484K this week, down from 551K last week. You are losing. Losers. Every other show other than Impact, because I couldn't find the number, was up. Was up.
Yep.
And both AEW shows were down.
Yeah.
You got to do something else. You got to say, okay, I may not like everything. You may not like everything, but just give it a shot.
Right.
You don't do that. It's up to you. And Tony Khan, you're just as much to blame for it as them, as your fans. You cultivated this culture. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And no casual viewer wants to be around such a toxic, vitriolic crowd. They don't want to be associated with it.
Right.
God. Anyway, that's my soapbox. I just had to kind of go on a rant there. But when we come back, we're talking about Hard to Kill.
Yeah.